So I've come, I think, to the workshop part of this. And there'll be two parts to this little workshop, and I'm very grateful to our musicians for helping. One will be about communication skills and storytelling, and the other one will be about how to plan a career. Now, we've got our volunteers here who are going to do storytelling. I'm going to invite them onto the stage because I'm going to start with you first. Momo, Laura, and Shouty. Let's welcome them to the stage. Okay. Shouty, I'm going to start with you. Why don't the two of you just take a seat? Right. Okay? Just relax. This is fun. I'm not torturing them or anything. No animals are being destroyed during this process. But what we're going to do is just have a little bit of fun. I've told them to tell a story for about 3 minutes and not to use any notes. It needs to be in here, okay? It's very important that it's in here. I used to, for years and years and years, I used to give speeches to audiences and raising money. And I used to have cards, and I used to use the cards, and I used to really rehearse these things and try and make them as perfect as possible. The result was I communicated like crap. And one day, I was working with a conductor called Yakov Kreutzberg, who was a great, great friend, and he saw me working, reading these things nervously like this. And he said, "Tony, what do you do?" I said, "Well, Yakov, I'm just preparing my speech here." And he said, "Let me see." And he takes them, my notes that I've spent hours carefully scribbling on and rehearsing, tears them up and goes like that. He says, "When you speak from here, the heart." And he pushed me on stage as I swallowed, and I gave the best speech I've ever given as a result of that. I had a bit of courage. I didn't want to let him down as well, but he was pushing me. And I learned a lot from that. So, no notes. Have you got a microphone?
No.
Somebody got a microphone?
Yes.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Hold on, let me have that. So what I'd like you to do is, can you actually go out of that door, or is that door locked? I'd like Shouty to leave. Can you go? Can you go back here? Okay. Okay. Very good. Okay, hold on. So, Shouty is going to come on stage in a second, and I want you to give her a roar of approval and lots of applause. We're welcoming her, and she's going to tell her story. All right? Yes? Okay, Shouty, you're on.
So, good afternoon. That was funny because I'm new, you know. So first of all, I have never spoken in front of so many people. I mean, I had one experience, but it was like when I was young, I was in China. It was like in Chinese, but it was so horrible, trust me. So I thought I would never speak in front of people anymore, but today, yes. Okay, anyway, so when Mr. Woodcock told me that I have to give a speech here, so the beginning, like before I came into the auditorium, so I thought a lot from my memory. Like I thought of so many things, like in the past. I'm so glad that I have so many stories, like something funny, something like sad, something happy, something like special. But I mean, on this point, I don't know which one should I tell. But after a long term, like struggling down there, finally I have a story. But the story might not be very like special or interesting, but it's like important to me. It was about like an orchestra tour to from America to the South Korea, yeah. And it was happened like last year, March. And we had a chamber orchestra at IU, Indiana University. I was studying there. And I was so lucky that I was holding the principal, like a violist position. And like, you know, as most of the young kids, like, you know, if you have a tour like outside of the country and so far away, you are normally you are very like excited. And we were like that. And then we didn't pay more attention about something else like around us, like, you know, those kind of details. So before the tour, I thought musicians have like a much easier life than other people like who work for other field, like for other career. But after the trip, I think I'm wrong, because the first few days, I mean, we have 1 week experience in Seoul, Korea, and the whole orchestra had flew from America to Seoul, and we have 4 performances there, and I mean, for the first 3 performances, we were like really excited, and we, you know, young kids in the new country, we were like really excited. We have after party after every performance. We didn't talk much about the jet lag and everything about our body. Well, that was fine because nothing happened. But after the third performance, we had a party on the street, like we eat like so many things, like a rice cake or blah blah, like those kind of Korean traditional food. Like we were really happy. But the second day in the morning, something happened really bad to me. I had like a stomach flu, and I was like almost falling down, and I didn't have any energy, and you know, was like horrible, you know, sour everywhere on my body. But the most important performance is the day after that day. So I was like really panic. And then because I'm the principal, so I have a lot of like a solo part and blah blah. And you know, I mean, my teacher was like following us to Korea for the trip, and people say, oh, if you are feeling too bad, then you don't need to give the performance. Maybe your teacher can do it, blah blah. I mean, my teacher is wonderful, orchestra player, and then he was playing orchestra for over 20 years in Philadelphia. So, I mean, nothing to be worried. But I was like really struggling because that's the most important performance in the Seoul Arts Center, and it's like a kind of one of the most amazing and important concert halls in Korea. So I really want to perform. So I was like keep staying very strong. But yes, I was holding myself like that. The performance was like okay, but you know, I felt really bad on the stage. I mean, I could be very bad, but I mean, I'm lucky I didn't play anything bad. And but in the intermission, during the intermission, I was like crying like crazy, like backstage, because I couldn't like avoid the pain from my body. So I was like really hard. But after the whole performance, I thought it was like hard. But after the whole trip, I thought more about other things. Like I want to have some is it reflection or something for my whole trip, you know. So I thought a lot. I mean, it's not my fault, like to be sick, but it is my fault because I have to pay more attention to my body and everything, and then I have the responsibility to finish the performance very well like that because I'm a musician. So I was like, I thought a lot about that. I thought the most important thing that I have learned is we have to pay more attention to ourselves and you know, something really details around us. So, I mean, that's my story.
They liked you. How did she do? What did you like? Honesty, yeah. How spontaneous, yeah. She spoke from the heart. Did you feel that you got to know her better through her story? Yeah? Did you make a connection with her? Did you know her before? you want to spend time with her? What else? What else did you learn? Are there things that you would improve from what she was doing?
Like higher level, not so much.
You mean the use of her voice?
No, her eye level.
Yeah, you did a lot of this. You did a lot of "Are my shoes clean" looking. You have to, if you're going to engage with people, you can only do it in one way, and that is through your eyes. And people will judge you through your eyes, who you are, if you're honest, if you're a lovely person, if you can be trusted, if you're interesting, if you're cute. They'll look at your eyes to establish that. So if you maintain eye contact, you're 90% of the way to having some really good communication skills. So you have lovely eyes. So you can use your eyes more and work the room. Don't just focus on one person or one part of the room. Work the whole thing so that everybody feels that they have a connection with you. My other thing, what do you think about this? Do you think she could have moved a little bit? Yeah? Yeah, your body was in neutral, and that was nice. But I know. And you had one arm was flapping, and I like flapping. Flapping's really good, gets rid of tension. You know, when you're performing, you work out where your tension points are. My tension point is my left leg, for some reason. So if I flap a bit like this, I get rid of the tension. So yours, you could have used a little, if you'd imagined a little garden here, and if you just used the garden, perhaps just to walk around, you know, how's that flower doing here and that piece of grass, and all of that.
I just forgot because I'm nervous.
Okay, and the reason that she's nervous is because she hasn't done it before. So to stop her being nervous, she needs to rehearse doing this. It's not something you do once. So you might want to do this with a video camera on you, see what you're like, or do it with the mirror. Do you both have iPhones on you? Yes. Yeah? Can you use his phone and film him so he has a record of this? And then do the same for you, if you have a phone? Yeah? Okay, I think that would be good. I should have thought of that earlier. Also, I think she could use her voice a little bit differently. I mean, we all have at least 6 or 7 notes in our voice when we speak. A great actor will have highs and lows and maybe span an octave or more. But if we only speak at one voice like this forever and ever, eventually the audience will go, oh. And you won't maintain their attention. So play with the voice and the intonation of the voice and how you can use the notes in your voice to create attention and interest. But you did very well. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Please. Maybe just, you could take him from the side here.
Or we can just ask someone in the first
Okay,
row.
great. Okay. You can do it, okay. Okay, I'd like to welcome Momo. Go on.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have to push anything. Okay. So when he told me that we had to prepare a story, actually I was thinking, and I didn't want so much to speak about myself, but if it has to be a story connected to me, I will do it. And I was thinking, and I had many stories also, some funny, some not really funny, some a bit too moral. And there is one that came to my mind. It's kind of funny. So last year I had a concert in Paris, and it was like really important concert with a very famous pianist. And we always imagine when we have concert that everything has to be perfect and that we have to practice, that every detail goes well, and I was very stressed for this concert. I usually never stress, or I give the feeling that I don't stress. And so I practiced a lot. I had many classes here in the school, and I traveled to Paris 1 week before to prepare. I met this pianist, that was Itamar Golan, and we rehearsed, everything went well. We had very long rehearsal, and we came the day of the concert. It was in Louvre, in the museum. And the organizer of the concert was a very hard woman, I would say stupid actually. And and she was putting a lot of pressure on me, and she was like, I choose you, you have to do this very well, it's a very important concert, blah, blah. She called many journalists and many other media. And in the concert I came, I played the first part, and everything was kind of okay. And of course never perfect, because it never goes as we want. But we had a break, we went down to the dressing rooms, I started to drink water, and I had to play the Strauss sonata. And so the guy that is supposed to tell us that we have to go back to stage come, and tell us in 5 minutes you go. So I go with my violin, and I start to speak with him, and he started to tell me, relax, everything will go well. And I arrive on stage, I start to tune, everything is good, and I see the stand, and I didn't have my score. And during 2 seconds, I was like completely frozen, and I turned to the pianist, and I tell him, I don't have the score, what do we do? And he's like, go to take it, and I was like, but it's a bit strange not to just leave the stage like this and come back with the score. They will think I'm stupid, or... So I went back, and I came back, and the audience started to laugh a lot, and everybody was laughing a lot, except this organizer, of course. And anyway, I played the sonata, and we completely messed at the end. He had like 2 bars before me, but the audience, I think, didn't notice, and the concert the audience liked a lot, and I went out of stage, and I was like, man, what did you do? And then the audience came to me, and everybody kind of liked. No one noticed that we didn't play together at the end, and for the scores, people were laughing and were just saying that, but this can happen to everybody, and it's just a little detail that's more funny actually than we could just say that I have just forgot, or I was not serious. And I actually realized then that, well, concerts can go sometimes wrong, or not everything can go well, but if it's little details like this, the audience will not really care about those things, because they don't come for that, and they don't come for judging because we miss something, or we miss the little detail, and they just come to enjoy, and that's it.
So how did Momo do? Yeah? What did you like about it? Over here.
Thank you.
He was relaxed. You know what you had? I really like this. I don't know if you were watching his feet at all, but he'd really balanced himself. He's very much like this. Contrapposto, is that? Yeah? So there was no way he was going to fall over or lose balance, and he was never worried about his body. And that allowed you had a very confident pose as a result. You were probably doing that intuitively. But it's something, I've seen so many young musicians, they go on stage and they're about to trip over or fall over sideways or backwards, whatever it might be. Always just look at how you are, because if you're in balance, you can think and your body isn't worried, and you can concentrate. What else do people like? Yep.
I liked his amazing, really crazy story, and his sincerity, and being normal.
Mm-hmm. And being normal. See, there's a little theme here, which is you actually like people being authentic. You like people being themselves. Because when they're like that, they communicate really well. They're not politicians, and they're not doing US primaries and all the rest of it. Well, we don't necessarily trust them. You're trusting him because he's speaking from the heart. What else did you like? Being simple. Yeah? You mean that in a good way? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah? What else? What did you think? Fun. You had a good sense of humor. Yeah, you knew that he was sort of laughing at himself and he wasn't taking himself too seriously. The only thing I would think about would be, and this will be true of so many of you when you speak for the first time in public, how do you end? Do you just keep talking and it sort of fades away and that's my story? Or do you have something that you've held in reserve, which maybe is a little joke, or maybe it's really a colorful end to the story that really gets people's attention and they laugh, and the last image of you is not fading away, but actually with something that's very strong. If you listen to any of the great composers, and you'll see them struggling to end a piece. Beethoven was always, how do I end this symphony? Lots of chords, that's great. Yeah, more chords, and get more chords. So it's always going on. If you listen to the end of a Haydn string quartet, he knows exactly how to end. You listen to the end of Mahler's First Symphony, big D major, he knows exactly how to end. So think Haydn, think Mahler First Symphony, and it's that big D major ending that you're heading for that should be a real objective for you. But you did very, very well, and I'm pleased that we captured that. Then you have an essence of what it was like. So Laura, you're up next. You got your phone?
Do you have storage? Because I need to have on my phone any storage.
Can somebody, you got storage? Okay, somebody's going to take you. Okay? Do you want to go back there? So let's hear it for Laura.
Hello, everyone. As Mr. Woodcock was talking about the audience and the performer relationship when one steps on the stage and what we have to give. And the image of my father came to my mind because through my early years when I started playing cello, he was always there to support me. He was the one who would drive me to school. He was the one who was always there on concerts. And especially speaking of concerts, when he planted in me something which I still use this very day, every moment and every occasion that I'm on the stage, which is, I think back then he was more nervous about my performance than I was nervous about my performance. And he would always just stand back at the back of the stage, never sitting because of the nerves. And this image, when I would walk on the stage and just bow in front of the audience, my father was there. He was like a rock for me. He just gave such an image and such a strength into me at that moment when you used to be stressed out, that taught me and made me understand today that somehow we all need to have something that we hold on to and something that we can just grab and something that strengthens us, because we can be very unstable, very nervous type, very stressing for everything. And I just wanted to share that as he was there every concert, every moment, and before he would talk to me like, you're there for the audience, and the audience is there for you. So just tell them something and give something very special from you. And I just wanted to share this story with you, that he's my stumbling rock.
Lovely story. It's a great story. How do you think she did? Yeah, it was an emotional story, which she had the courage to want to share. And I think we all admire people when they have courage when they're speaking. What else? Yes. And some words she emphasized, which I really like. You sort of paused and then you gave it a different timbre. What else?
Her speech was very touching, like very personal.
Mm-hmm.
I think her voice was very calm, and I felt very calm.
Mm-hmm. Did you all connect with her and the story? Yeah? When you were ending, you almost got the ending right, and then you didn't have the confidence just to stay with it. When I think your father said to you, you're there for the audience, but the audience is also there for you. That would have been a great, I think, for me anyway, I think that would have been a great ender, or to have built upon that. Do you think? Yeah? Something like that. Do we have any other pointers for Laura? Her eyes. Is it? Yeah. 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 This is very good. Very good. Brava.